Well, hello there, pretty people. How is it going? You are correct. This is not live at the loom. This is not, it's Wednesday afternoon. Weird time, right? Does that feel strange? But I'm so glad you're here. This is actually the Dress Your Loom Quickfire Q&A. Uh-huh. Yep, that's what we're gathered here today to party. Yeah. Hello to Carol and Diana. They were raring to go. They were like, we are present and maybe procrastinating, but that's okay. I'll take it. All right, friends. So, first of all, it is 17 degrees out there. Now, when I got up this morning, friends, it was 2. Like, not 22 or 32. I mean, 2. That's Fahrenheit. That is cold. It's really cold here today. But this middle-aged woman's having a hot flash at the moment, so don't mind me shedding all the layers. All right, so today we are going to do a little quickfire Q&A. And when I kept thinking of a quickfire Q&A, that kind of implies going fast, right? And you know me, I can talk pretty darn fast, but no one's going to understand a word I say. So this will really be a moderate fire Q&A, not really so quick. But we're going to cover a lot of ground. And please put your questions in the chat there so I can answer any questions you have. The Dress Your Loom course is open right now, but not for long. Tomorrow it closes at 4 p.m. Dun, da, da, da. And it won't open again for what feels like a million years. It'll be July before it opens again. So I thought that I see your comment, Carol. Carol, look at her with a little it's a Holy Grail reference, isn't it? Tell me if I got that one. Yeah. Okay, so I say we get things started, shall we? Like I said, I have a whole bunch of questions that I'll go through, and if I'm missing things, if you have specific questions, just put them in the chat. It's going to be, it's casual as always because it's me. It's still me, right? So here we go. I queued up all of the questions here, trying to use my tech like, someone intended. Okay, here we go. What is the Dress Your Loom course and why did you create it? Okay, the Dress Your Loom course is a completely virtual online course that will give you an easy system for dressing your loom. I created it because as a teacher, what I found is one of the biggest hurdles that beginning weavers kind of sort out, that they wrestle with, is how to dress a loom. And we live in this great era of the internet, which is awesome and horrible because as you do research online, you're like, oh, but so-and-so said to do it this way. But so-and-so said to do it this way. And does this make more sense? What happens here? So it can be really, really confusing. So I thought, you know what? I have a very easy system. Why don't I share so that we can get more people weaving? Because ultimately, friends, that is always the plan, to get more people weaving. So that was kind of the origins of the Dress Your Loom course. So here's our next question. What is it like to go through the class? I love this question because I feel like sometimes when you're considering something, you're like, well, if only I kind of had an idea of what it was actually like. So here, let's say today you decide to register for the course. You will immediately get access to an introductory video with a PDF, like a downloadable. And it'll have everything you need to start the course, right? It'll talk about materials. It'll talk about equipment. It'll talk about front to back versus back to front. It'll talk about the project. Like, it talks about everything you need to know before the class actually starts. And then on Monday, the 20th, module 1 will drop. Dun, da, da, da. When I say a module drops, what that means is that you have access to an entire module. So our very first module is called Measuring Your Project. And you'll get a series of videos all about this one topic, plus PDFs that go along with it. I try to always include lots of support materials because I don't know about you, but I like to write stuff down. I like to take notes. So I wanted to make sure that you had something concrete that you could actually work with as you were, as you were learning this great system. So on Monday, module 1 will drop. And then on next Wednesday, a week from today, we'll have our very first Q&A. There's a Q&A that goes with each of the modules, and there are six modules to go through the entire course. Ooh, good question. I like that one. What happens at the Q&A, and what if I miss it? The Q&A is really kind of the lifeblood of the course, I have to say. And you know what's interesting is that when I started designing how I wanted the course to be laid out and how a student would walk through it, I thought, well, I really wanted to have a time where they could ask questions. But friends, it's really so much more than that. Every week on Wednesday, we have Q&A, and students come in. It's a Zoom call, right? So you can see each other. You can ask questions. You can send me questions ahead of time. But it becomes this great time to just, talk to each other and be like, how is it going? What kind of things have you bumped into? What kind of challenges have you had on your end? And undoubtedly, there's always a moment when someone asks a question that someone else was like, oh, I forgot to ask that. That's a great question. So it's this great kind of exchange of information. And it's really, really special. The Q&As are primo. They are really, it's such a wonderful part of the course itself. And if you miss it, it is no problem at all because I record them. Yeah. I record the Q&As from each week, and then I drop it into the module where it will live, right? So that you always have access. So let's say you're taking the course in January. In March, you're like, oh, what was that thing about slaying the reed? You can go back in and you can pull up the Q&A from what we just recorded here and watch it anytime you want. Pretty good though, huh? Or she says, hate the dressing parts. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, right? Yeah, Carol says, some people ask questions you didn't even know you needed answered. That's exactly right. It's exactly right. That's a very good point. Thank you, my friend. Okay, here we go. Will I always have access to the Dress Your Loom course? The answer is yes, you absolutely will. Like I said, we have 6 weeks of kind of a live element, if you will, where I will be there with you each week as each module drops, and you'll have a chance to ask questions as you go. But after that's over, friends, you can log in anytime and pull up your class information and follow along. So let's say that it's, October, and you're like, okay, wait, how do I start this at the warping board? Great. Log in, pull up the Measuring Your Project module, press play, off you go, which is lovely. You know what? One of the questions I didn't include here is that one of the big perks too is that you always have access to it, but you always then can go back through it with a future class. For instance, pardon me, I have, I bet there are 8 to 10 students that are current students that are signed up to go through this with the January class. They'll go through it live for free. There's never any additional charge, so that you can just be like, you know what, I haven't really had a lot of chance to weave in the last 6 months. Let me do a refresher and go through all the modules with the new class. So that is a great kind of bonus feature that is always available to you. So not only can you on your own pull up the course whenever you want, you can go through it as many times. There's no limit. You just keep going through it if you want. That is no problem there. Okay, next question. Why front to back? Okay, I think this is such a good question because don't you find that in so many cases, it's kind of how you were taught, like that's how you started at least, like how you were taught, like what did your teacher get you started? And here has kind of been my experience. I was taught front to back. But over the years, I have then tweaked so many little parts of the process to make it easier and simpler and make more sense in my head. I tend to be I'm the kind of student that's like, okay, wait, why? Why are we doing it this way? And is there a better way? Is there an easier way to do this? I probably would not like teaching me very much because I would be like, and why? And why is this? But as a teacher, then that becomes a very good trait because I'm constantly analyzing, is there a better, easier, more simplified way to do this? So yes, I was taught front to back, but over the years, then I've followed different weavers, other teachers, and been like, oh, is there a better way I can do this? And if the answer is yes, I absolutely adopted that into the whole thing because, I figure if it's easy and you understand it, there's a much better chance you'll do it. That's my whole logic. That's the whole logic there, friends, right? Uh-huh. Yeah, Carol says dressing the loom is a huge point of procrastination for me too. So long and boring. What is this? You'd rather clean bathrooms, scrape horse stalls, or sit in a pile of ants covered in honey. That is very specific, Carol. I love that. Your imagination is on point, darling. All right, here's the next question. What is the class project? The class project, my friends, is a sampler. And you may be thinking, oh, Chris, who wants to do a sampler? Well, we do. And here's why, friends, is that I find that in so many instances, when you do your very first project as a weaver, you're like, I'm going to do a scarf, or I'm going to do towels. And that's all fine and good. However, you have certain expectations associated with that thing that you are going to make. I'm going to make the world's bluest, most beautiful towels ever to be seen, even though I've never woven in my whole entire life. Okay, friends, sometimes it comes with unrealistic expectations because you're just starting. You are just a beginner. And my goal for you is to create a project that it's not so fragile. Do you know what I mean? That it's not so, it has to be just so. I don't want you to be scared. I want you to be bold. I want you to do some stuff. Get in there and weave and throw in some yarn that you don't think is going to work, that you're like, I don't think it's going to look good. I think it's a weird texture. I want you to try things. I don't want you to be kind of delicate with the project at all. So that's why we do a sampler, because nothing says just throw the kitchen sink at it like a sampler, right? After this, you can do all of the perfect blue towels you want. But for this project, as you were learning the steps, a sampler. It's a lot of fun too, by the way. Okay, how about what kind of loom? Well, my friends, I am a multi-shaft weaver. I have 2 looms. Even after so many years, I still have 2 looms, and they're both 4 shafts. So that is, I teach what I know. So I teach a multi-shaft. That's what the class is designed for. If you have an 8-shaft loom, that works great, friends. That is just, don't even fret it. Because the class is taught for a 4-shaft, I recommend just use the first 4 shafts. And you'll absolutely, everything will translate. So if you want to, for your next project, do an 8-shaft project, you can absolutely do that. No sweat, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Carol says samplers are a great excuse to play, experiment, and make mistakes and learn. You're exactly right, Carol. Thank you so much. Diana says, I don't mind dressing the loom. Nice. I've gone both directions. Look at you. Currently not able to straddle the pedals to go front to back. So go behind and pull it all through. I love that. Thank you. Look at all the good feedback you guys have. Okay, here we go. Are the materials / equipment expensive? Okay, well, no matter what, your most kind of your biggest ticket item is going to be a loom. But I recommend that if you're not ready to buy one, find one that you can borrow. Can you rent it from somewhere? There are options out there. Plus, there are places like Facebook Marketplace that have some amazing steals on looms. So don't be afraid to kind of think outside the box for where you might find a loom for you. So the loom is always going to be the biggest ticket item. But the other things that, honestly, like a weaving bench, that's not even part of the equipment list. But I find that a weaving bench is a great investment. But you don't have to have it right out of the gates. Just use a chair. Just use a chair or a stool that'll adjust, something like that. A warping board, that's one of the items that I have on the list. And they're pretty easy to find. And if you're crafty, friends, you could make yourself a warping board. Even I, the girl who is the least craftiest of the crafty, thought, if I had the right tools, I bet I could make myself a warping board. But for the most part, the materials and equipment are not expensive. And in the class, I asked you to come with all things you're going to use for all projects going forward. There's nothing superfluous. No. And when it comes to the yarn that we use, I recommend an 8/4 cotton because that is my go-to workhorse kind of cotton. But if you're like, Chris, I have a ton of, 8/2 or 5/2 or whatever. I have ways that you can adjust the project so that it fits with your yarn. Because the whole goal, friends, is you to learn how to use your equipment and your materials in your space, right? So I got you covered. Don't even worry if you're like, I have a lot of this other yarn I want to use. We'll figure out how to use it, friends. No problem. Take a swig. Did I mention it was cold here? I did, right? I did mention it was cold here. Okay. Here's the next question. Is there something for rigid heddle? Sadly, there is not, because I am not a rigid heddle weaver, right? I am a teacher who is going to only teach what she knows really well. and I am not a rigid health person. So there are plenty of great teachers out there, and I can recommend some if you need a rigid health teacher. But that is not me, friends. Here we go. How often is the class offered? The Dress Your Loom course is offered in January and July of every single year. So, not very often, just a couple little unique moments in time when the doors are open. And I treat it kind of like a college course. So the registration is only open for so long, and then I close the doors. So then I can focus just on teaching you the best that I am able, because I I try to always be there above and beyond for my students. That's always the plan. How about this question? What if I can't finish the course? This is a good one, because you know how fast life can change in 6 weeks, right? You're like, okay, it's all free, and then something goes sideways, and you're like, oh no, it's not gonna happen. Friends, it's no problem. It's no problem at all. You will always have access. Oh, pardon me. Did I mention I'm getting over COVID? Yeah. It's still, it's like the COVID part's done, and there's still like a head cold lingering. It's good times. So if you aren't able to go through the 6 weeks live with us, that's no problem. You can pull it up on your own anytime after that, including recordings of all the Q&As. You can hang tight and go through it with the July course. You can go through it next January with them. Whatever you want to do. There's so many options, but once you register for the course, it is yours and available to you. All right. By the way, don't forget to leave me some questions if you have, if you have questions here. Let's see. Carol says, FYI, awesome mechanic benches at Harbor Freight. Ooh, I wouldn't have thought of Harbor Freight. That's a great suggestion. Thank you. Getting back up easily. And they're on wheels. Ooh, I love that. Carol, great suggestion. Thank you, my friend. What did Diana say? Diana says sometimes access to threads is limited. Sure, by income or local availability. Use what you got. One summer I wove grass into cordage. It's still weaving. Ooh, it absolutely is, Diana Smith. I love that. Get outside and find some materials. That's brilliant. All right, here we go. Next question. How do you take payment? Well, what's so nice these days is that there's a lot of options for how you can pay for things. As a matter of fact, the platform that I use to host the course is called Kajabi. And Kajabi has this thing now where you have like 4 options. You can do, it's like a credit or debit card. You can do Apple Pay, but you also have these things called Klarna and Afterpay. And those friends, you can make up your own kind of layaway system. They have a payment plan right there using either of those 2 systems. So you absolutely can break it up if you are like, it's not my budget at the moment. No problem. We can get that the price of the course down to a really reasonable price. So do not worry about the payment. There are lots of options right there for you to choose. By the way, the course is $425, and if you like some extra support, I didn't bring it near me. Oh shoot, I'm sorry, friends. But if you like the idea of some extra support, you could do the VIP option that has a custom binder, which I'm so sorry I don't have in front of me. That was lame. I should have had it right here. There's a custom binder with all of the printouts in it, plus everything you need to organize your life as a beginning weaver. Plus you get 2 one-on-one sessions with me as you go through the course. So if you are like, I want to do the course, but I know I'm going to need some extra assistance, choose the VIP option. It's fantastic. Yes, yeah. All right, next question. Do I get everything once I register? Not right away. No, because I want to kind of pace things for you. I know how it goes. Is that you're like, okay, Chris, I'm excited. I want to do all the things right now. However, I don't want you to get overwhelmed. So when you register, you immediately have all the access to the introductory, the video, the PDFs, all the things you need to get ready. And then module 1 drops on Monday. So for the next 6 Mondays, a new module will open up and you'll have access to all of that. After that, friends, it's all yours. And believe me when I say how fast 6 weeks will go, it will go very, very, very quickly. That is for sure. Ooh, okay. So let's see if we have other questions here. Let me put this up so that you guys can, this is a place to register. If you are like, okay, I'm ready, let's do it. There is a spot right there. Let me see if we've got some other questions here in the chat. Hershey says, I enjoy the warping board and weaving. That's awesome. Fantastic. Hello, Elizabeth. Let's see. Carol says, next step on the new loom is figure out how dressing the beam. Oh, it's tricky beast. Yes, Carol has a beautiful new loom, but it's like a unicorn, so she's still sorting that out. That is for sure. Okay, I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I can't think of anything specifically that I've missed for our Q&A here. Now, if I have, if there's something that I didn't cover that you're like, oh, Chris, I was hoping you'd talk about X, Y, and Z, you are welcome to email me at any time. The email address is chris@actingcreative.net, right? You can reach out and be like, hey, here's what I'm hung up on, or here's where my question is, right? Okay, so here is this is the link, dun, da, 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 right here. Hit the register button, pick how you want to do your checkout, and you'll immediately have access to all the introductory stuff, and we'll be off to the races starting Monday. Do not forget that the doors are going to close tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Time. Forgive me if I won't translate for wherever you are, but you can do the math. Let's see, that'd be 5 o'clock Eastern. That would be 2 o'clock if you're on the West Coast. Yes. So keep that in mind that is the deadline to register for the January course. Oh, here we go. Look, there's a couple comments that come in. Carol says unicorn. I have a worse name for him. You will figure it out. Ooh, Diana asked about mixing linen and wool. Thoughts? Oh, sure. I don't see why not. Here would be the thing to consider, Diana, would be the placement. Where do you want to place? Oh, and Carol chimes in and says, I wouldn't. I think you could sample a little bit, Diana, and see see how you like it. You might, I would say, at least if you're going to do a little sampling, have just one in the warp and one in the weft, just to see how they kind of respond. You never know. I personally have not played with linen and wool, but that is a very intriguing. Carol's like, nope, abort. She's like, nope, wouldn't do it. She said, what? You could, but the linen, something out of the warp. But yeah. See, sometimes we type too fast, don't we? All right, friends. Okay, tomorrow's the deadline. I'm closing the doors at 4 o'clock. I love you all, but they're not staying open 1 minute longer. So 4 p.m. tomorrow is the deadline to register for the wonderful and amazing Dress Your Loom course. And I sincerely hope that you will join us. It is really an amazing experience. And the other student, you're going to love the other students. I have met some of them, and they are incredible, and we're going to have a blast. And if you're pondering, you're like, well, maybe July, keep this in mind. How busy is your summer? Just when you're thinking about when you want to register, just ponder that. What is a better time of year for all of that? So, all right, my friends. Tune in tomorrow if you want to hang with me for Live at the Loom, which will be at 9:30 Central AM, our regular bat time and bat station. Otherwise, I'm here for you if you have any questions about the Dress Your Loom course. All right, friends. Have a great one. I'll see you tomorrow. Happy weaving.